Good morning everyone, welcome back to another day of Vlogmas. Today is December 15th for me and I have a sub day today. So I'll be subbing for a middle school math class, which I always have like a weird experience subbing for math because I hated math growing up, but I find it's one of the most satisfying subjects to teach, even though I wasn't ever like a full-time math teacher. But yeah, it's it's a weird experience to like now enjoy a subject I hated so much as a kid. But I think it's because I hated the way math made me feel as a kid, not actually the subject itself. I think for a lot of kids it's very, very frustrating that there's only one right answer, and if you don't know how to get there, you're done. Like there's no way to argue your point or anything like that, while there is in some other subjects. So yeah, anyway, I'm subbing for math today, but I've got about a half an hour before I leave, so I think I'm going to put in some time on my sock before I go. Here's my stitch marker. Here's all of my stitch markers on the back. Natalie from Nitty Natty in her tutorial recommended placing a stitch marker every 10 rows to help you keep track of how many. So that's what I've got going on here. The purple one marks the end of the toe increases, and then I have every 10 rows marked after that. But I'm not going to take this with me as my project today because I'm getting close to the heel section, which I think for her tutorial she's doing an Afterthought heel, which is the one where you somehow insert a little piece of yarn and then take it out later and pick up the stitches to create the heel. Like you do the heel last. So I don't really want to mess with that while at school. Like I don't want to have to open up the tutorial on a prep or anything like that. So I think I am going to take my holiday doodle cowl, even though I said I wasn't going to do that because it's so much yarn to bring. But I'm also at the point where it's a very easy project. So I'm currently halfway through this cream row up here, but my stitch marker from yesterday is all the way down here. So I got some pretty good progress in yesterday once I switched to those bigger stripes. Then it seemed to work up very, very quickly. So I think that was a good move. So that's what I'll take with me today, but I'll get a couple rows in on my sock before I go. Hello again, I'm now back from subbing, so I didn't actually have as much prep time as I thought I was going to, partially because during recess time, which would have been work time for this teacher in her normal schedule, there were some kids who came in to finish tests, so I didn't get as much time on my holiday doodle cowl as I would have liked. But since I'm home and in front of my computer, I think I'm going to keep working on my socks. I also held these up to my foot, and I think I'm going to have to open up the video again and take another look at it because it kind of seems like I'm at the point in my sock where I should be starting the heel, lengthwise. So I'm going to reopen the video and see how long the one in the tutorial was, and I might actually be ready to start the section that has the mark for the Afterthought heel. So I have some scrap yarn. This is actually from my the scarf I'm wearing. It's the sugar cookie or Christmas sprinkle yarn to use as the marker for the heel insert. So I think I'm just going to get going on that. I also was kind of surprised because I set a goal for myself for the end of 2022, or the end of the month, that I wanted to have 1,500 subscribers and 100,000 views, and I'm actually pretty close on both of those things. So I'm at 1,467 subscribers, so I need 33 more, and I'm at 99,296 views. So I think both of those are maybe doable by the end of the year, which would be very exciting. But yeah, I think I'm just going to dive back into my socks and work on those for a while. Okay, so it turns out I was right. I was at the point where I could go ahead and add my little waste yarn insert for the Afterthought heel. Still learning all the terminology, but I think I got a pretty good amount of knitting done today. Here's my stitch marker from this morning. I'm all the way up to here. I think I'm going to do a fairly tall leg for these socks because I wear Doc Marten boots a lot, and I would love it if part of the sock could like poke out of the top if I'm wearing it with boots. Also, I have 3 skeins of this yarn, so even if I use a whole skein on just a single sock, I will have plenty left to make the second one, and then even other stuff after that. So I think this is going pretty well. It looks really wide to me, but I like held it up to the bottom of my foot, and it is like the width of my foot plus a little bit, but like part of it has to like wrap around the side of my foot. So I'm hoping these aren't actually going to be giant, but if they are, it was a good practice piece. I can still wear them around the house as like slippers and stuff like that. But that's kind of it today as far as crafting. Oh, I did want to like talk about subbing today just because today was a really good subbing day. I had middle school kids, which I know is not everyone's cup of tea, but I really like them. And they were pretty easy today. They were loud, which is to be expected the week before Christmas break, especially when they have so many tests and stuff going on just to like get it out of the way before the holidays. But they weren't too bad today. I was kind of tired when I got back, but I think that for some reason this year, daylight savings time really messed me up, and I'm still trying to get over it. I thought I had fixed it when we went to St. Louis and were staying in the hotel because I was sleeping in a little bit later, but almost as soon as we got back home, I was waking up at like usually around 4 in the morning, like 5 at the morning at the latest, and could not break that habit. And I don't know why. And I don't know why this year was so particularly rough on my sleep schedule for daylight savings time, because I don't think it was like this last year. So I'm still kind of struggling to like sleep normally and to wake up at a normal time. Usually if I'm subbing, I set my alarm for 5:30, and all through, well, since daylight savings time, whenever that was, every day that I've subbed, I've been up before my alarm, which is really strange. So I did make sure to rest a little bit immediately when I got home. I just kind of lay down on the couch in our basement for a little bit, and I actually downloaded A Christmas Carol on Audible because I reread A Christmas Carol every year. So I figured this year I would try the audiobook version. So I listened to the first, like, I think it was only 10 minutes of the audiobook and just kind of like laid down. I didn't even close my eyes, but just rested for a few minutes, and then I felt like re-energized and ready to go and work on my socks. So I think that was a good setup. But I think I'm going to end the vlog here for today because I have to go to dinner with my parents and then to choir, and by the time I get back from choir, I'm probably going to be ready to go to bed. So I'm just going to end it here, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.